Hey everybody, it's Anna and welcome back to my booktube channel. I am bringing you a video that I haven't made in a really long time, and that is a book haul. I actually haven't hauled too many new books since the pandemic started, partially because I get a lot of my books from the library and now I'm only getting ebooks and audiobooks, so there's not much to show you. And then partially because I've just bought a lot fewer books since the pandemic started. I'm definitely one of those walk into a bookstore and then accidentally walk out with a lot of books. And since you can't just walk into shops very easily, I haven't been doing that as much. But I did want to share with you a couple of books that I've hauled recently. About half of these, I guess. Yeah, half of these I've purchased, and then a bunch of them I got as gifts from people, which was really nice. So I wanted to make sure that I thanked the people that gifted me books. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start with You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. I bought this for the Blackout the Best Sellers list initiative that was going on, I think last week, where we were trying to buy books by Black authors so that all of the best-selling authors on the New York Times list would be Black authors. So I bought this, and I also bought A Song Below Water, but it's back-ordered and hasn't come yet, which is why it's not included in this video. Anyway, I also didn't realize that this book was queer until I saw people reading it for the Queer Blackathon, which just makes me even more excited to read it. All I know about this is that it is about a high school girl that is trying to get a full-ride scholarship to her dream university, and she figures that the only way she's going to be able to do this is if she gets crowned the prom queen. As somebody that did not have a traditional school experience and didn't go to a prom or anything like that, I'm always fascinated by these typical teen experience stories, because that is not the experience that I had. So I'm looking forward to reading this. I also absolutely adore this beautiful shade of purple at the top of the book, where the light purple and the dark purple blend. It's my favorite color ever. I'm not gonna keep staring at it this whole video, I promise. I just had to mention that. All right, and then I received as a gift from someone named Be Not Far From Me by Mindy McGinnis. This is a sort of creepy summer camp hiking eerie horror story vibe book that I've had on my Amazon wishlist for a little while, which is linked below if you so desire to get me a book. No obligation, of course, but yeah, that's where it is. So this is a book that has been on my Amazon wishlist for a while, which I do always have linked down in the description of this video. I'm not sure if this person found the book there or through some other place where I have the wishlist posted, but regardless, thank you very much, because I definitely like to read creepier, more horror type stories in the summer, perhaps because the atmosphere is less oppressive, so I feel like I'm better able to deal with spookiness in the summertime. But I am very excited to read this. Again, it is a very slim book. I am trying to be nice to myself and just read shorter books because I've been reading all of these really long books lately. So thank you very much for sending this to me, Stacia. I appreciate it a lot. I then also was sent some books by my friend Dalia, and this came as a total surprise. When they sent them, I shrieked very loudly, and my new neighbors, I'm sure, were delighted by that. But yeah, these are all a bunch of different books that we've talked about. The first one is Not the Girls You're Looking For by Amina May Safi. I don't actually know anything about this book, but this is one of our favorite authors in common, so I know I'm gonna love it anyway. Super excited for that one. They also sent me this gorgeous copy of Pride, a Pride and Prejudice remix by Ibiza Boy that is signed by the author. I have actually already read this book. It is a retelling of Pride and Prejudice that takes place in the modern day. It's got a majority Black cast, and it takes place in a rapidly gentrifying neighborhood in Brooklyn. I enjoyed this book. I'm definitely due for a reread for it. Pride and Prejudice isn't even my favorite Jane Austen book, but for some reason, Pride and Prejudice retellings are my favorite type of Jane Austen retellings. I don't exactly know how that adds up, but anyway, I'm really excited because I had a copy of this at one time. Don't now, but now I have it again, so thanks. And then the last one is Little and Lion by Brandy Colbert, which I have been dying to read for forever, it feels like. This is a book that has Black rep, Jewish rep, and disability rep in it, so I'm probably going to save it for the disability readathon next round, or I'm just gonna read it now and then like reread it later because I really love Brandy Colbert. I'm realizing that like she's probably a new favorite author for me, so can't wait to get to this one. Then we have a couple of other books that I just ordered online because I thought they sounded interesting. One of them is Whaling Captains of Color, America's First Meritocracy by Skip Finlay. Let me tell you, this book is kind of hard to find because it's published by a small press. But the AmazonRainforest.com does carry it, so I was able to pick up a copy. And I found out about this because of Justin from Ghost Reader, who is another booktuber that reads a fair amount of nonfiction. Not too many of us, strangely enough. But he had mentioned that he was going to be reading this book soon, and it is written by a Black author about the experience of Black and Indigenous whaling captains in the 19th century. Some of y'all know this, some of y'all maybe don't, but I'm what we like to call horny for ships. I love stories about ships and the sea, and whales are some of my favorite animals, and so like reading about this time period in history has always been fascinating to me, and I'm just really excited that like now we have a scholarly book with footnotes all about one of my favorite topics. And then I found this book, which is called Before Trans, 3 Gender Stories from 19th Century France by Rachel Mesh on Goodreads. I think because Fariba from the Francophile Reader had mentioned that she was going to be reading this, and this like ticks all of my boxes. It's 19th century, it's queer, it's a scholarly book with footnotes. I'm just really looking forward to reading this. And yeah, I ended up having to go find this online as well because it's a little bit more of a niche book, and so I don't think that my library had it. All right, and then this past weekend, our state opened up into the beginnings of Phase 2. I guess it was really our county, not our state. I live in King County, which is the big one that contains Seattle and like that whole metropolitan area in Washington. So we finally got into our modified version of Phase 2, which means that some stores were able to open back up. Some of those stores that could open up now were bookstores with limited capacity. So my husband and I went on a little bookstore date to Half Price Books because we're cute that way. And I bought 3 books while I was there. I got The Disasters by M.K. England, which I think was a group read for the Queer Lit Readathon a while back. I've been meaning to read Spellhacker by M.K. England for forever because I know that they're a non-binary author and like they write queer non-binary characters. But I haven't gotten around to Spellhacker because I apparently just can't read new release library books fast enough. But this is their first book, and I know that it is about a bunch of gay disasters in space, and that is all I need to know, really. I also picked up my own copy of This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El-Moutar and Max Gladstone. This is one of my favorite books that I have read this year. I didn't realize how short it was in real life because I actually read it as a library book on Kindle, so I think somewhere this is classified as a novella. But I've already read this book. It's a sapphic story of time travelers on opposite sides of a time war falling in love. It is an epistolary novel. They get to know each other through these letters that they keep dropping off at secret locations all around the timelines. This book is so freaking good. Read it. Just read it. Don't listen to me talking about it. Go get to a computer and request it from your library or get yourself a copy because it is so good. I love it so much. And then the last book that I have for this haul is Undercover Bromance by Lisa K. Adams. So my romance book club that I joined last year read the Bromance book club earlier this year, which is about a bunch of guys that all get together in this Fight Club style thing to read romance novels so that they can be better partners in their various relationships. So I know that this one is going to be a spin-off of Braden Mack, who is one of the more like Playboy type characters from the first book, and I believe that this time, instead of reading a Regency romance, the guys delve into romantic suspense. I really liked the first book in this series because it was actually like a really thoughtful treatment of the way in which like fiction helps you become a more empathetic person. And I also appreciated the perspective of reading as somebody who is myself new to reading romance. Like, I really kind of empathized with the guy characters because I was like, I didn't read a lot of romance before this. What is it good for? And as you find out, it's actually good for a lot of things. So those are all of the books that I have today to haul for you. Yeah, if you've read any of these and you'd like to chat with me, leave a comment down below and we can get a little discussion going. If you like this video and you'd like to see more of what I do, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. That's the best way to get updated every time I post new videos. As always, thank you all so very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!